Welcome to the oasis.state podcast, a podcast where we peel back the layers of life's mysteries, decode the cosmic dance, and embrace the technicolor tapestry of our existence. I'm Zoe, your guide through the twists and turns of this wild journey we call life. If you've ever felt like you don't quite fit into society's mold, well, you've found the right place. Join me as we dive deep into the pool of existence, exploring the WTF moments that make life simultaneously confusing and exhilarating. From soul-expanding experiences to heart-wrenching healing journeys, we'll shine the light on all of it, and I'll share how we can alchemize these moments into pure magic and transformation. Consider this podcast your safe haven, your home away from home, where you can let your freak flag fly and embrace the full spectrum of who you are. So are you ready to join me on this soul-expanding adventure? Buckle up, my friends. Let's make some magic together. Hello, gorgeous soul, and welcome back to another episode of the oasis.state podcast. I'm your host, Zoe. How are you? How are you going? Let's just take a deep breath before we dive into this episode. In through your nose and let it out. We're here. Let's get into it. So this episode is for the chicks, the gals, the girls, the women, the goddesses. I am here today to remind you that nature, Mother Earth, and ourselves as women are one in the same. And I realized this the other day when I drove up to the Gold Coast to pick my partner up from the airport. And I arrived early, so I parked out the front of the airport, which is in Coolangatta, and I walked up to Balinga Beach and I sat there and I was watching the ocean. And I was looking over towards Kira and Rainbow, and there were these tiny little like glassy waves, and I was just taking them in. And then I realized, I was like, oh, wow, this is the same spot that my partner and my friends surfed the week before. And it was absolutely pumping waves. There was this amazing swell that came in, way out of my league, surfing wise and expertise wise. But these guys were surfing, 6 to 8 foot waves at the exact same spot that I was observing these tiny little 1/2 foot to 1 foot waves at Kira. And I realized it's the same beach, but it's a different condition. And how beautiful is that? And I realized that nature is such a dynamic organism. Like literally the entire planet is full of all of this diverse nature. I was looking at the ocean, and every day the conditions are different, and throughout the day the conditions change. And we never seem to question it. We're just like, oh, okay, today it's windy, or today there's heaps of swell. Or if you think about Mother Earth as a whole, and you think about the diversity of nature that we get to experience on this planet, and it's just incredible. You can go to the Amazon jungle and experience all of this flora and fauna that you don't have in the national parks in America, or you can go to India and experience beautiful nature there, or you can go to the Sahara Desert, you can go to the snow. Like, I could talk about all the different forms of nature, and we never seem to question the diversity of nature around us. We just seem to appreciate it. And it made me realize that Mother Earth is just a reflection of who we are and who we should be accepting and embodying as females. Because as a female, you would know that we are never, ever the same. From moment to moment, we are different, dynamic, diverse, gorgeous specimens. And we've grown up in this society, this patriarchal society that craves linear action and is all about consistency, all about fitting in to a box, what's the term, like a round hole in a square peg kind of thing. So as females, it's been really confusing to be in our society for hundreds of years now. It's not just been recently as well, but there's this expectation that females need to be as consistent as males, and it's just, we are not made to be like that. Men run on a 24-hour hormonal cycle, and it's actually governed by the sun, because, the sun revolves around the earth on a 24-hour cycle. So I could ask my partner at 3 o'clock today how he feels, and he could say XYZ. And then the next day I could ask him again, and chances are he'll be feeling pretty much the same. Women run on a 28-day hormonal cycle. So if you ask me at 3 o'clock today how I feel versus tomorrow or in a week's time, bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be feeling completely different and giving you different answers. And I just know in my personal experience and my conditioning that I have been made to feel like that's something that's wrong. But it just took me one look at the same part of the ocean, the same surf break, to realize that the week before, when we had amazing swell and the ocean was showing us her power and providing a lot of fun as well for those who chose to surf it, that was her season. That was her expression at that particular time. And then a week later, I'm sitting there at the beach taking in like a glassy little afternoon with tiny little fun, playful waves. And we don't question that. We don't criticize that. And it's just a reminder for all of us as females to reconnect with nature, because she is just doing her thing all the time and we never ever question it. But as a female myself, like I said, in my experience, I feel like I've been very conditioned to be a particular way at all times, or really conditioned to like reject my storminess, or to, if I'm having like a bit of a, in a winter, I have been, not personally, but that I'm just saying my conditioning. I've been conditioned to believe that, there's something wrong with me because I can't keep up with life, or if I'm having a bit of a sad moment, that there's something wrong with me. But it's just us as females being out true to ourselves. Like, we are these multifaceted, highly nuanced beings that are just dying to feel safe to be expressed. And nature, to some degree, obviously as humans we are doing a lot of damage to nature, but hopefully as more and more women can reconnect with nature, we can start protecting her a bit more, because just like her, we all deserve a safe space to be our multifaceted selves and to be every single version of ourselves that chooses to show up. And I find in my experience, when I am in a safe environment, or I have conscious people around me that just accept that, Zaza's having a bit of a day, that I can actually move through all of that moodiness and the waves and that inner storminess with so much more grace and almost more quickly, because it's like I've got that permission slip to do it. So yeah, I just really wanted to record this episode today to help any woman out there that feels like, what is wrong with me? Am I too much? What's going on? Why don't I fit in? None of those stories are true. None of those stories are true. And it's time for us to reclaim our power and to reclaim our diversity of expressions, and teach those around us how to treat us, or how to hold space for us when we are in every season of our expression. And I know it can be hard sometimes if you're in a relationship where you have people around you. You often want them to know how to treat you in a particular time, but it's an empowerment piece for you to come through and teach them, like, I just need a bit of space, or I just need a bit of softness right now, or no, I think I need you to call me on my shit, sort of thing. And over time, if you have those consistent conscious relationships, they will learn to do that. It will kind of go into autopilot, and they will give you that space to be that authentic version of yourself. And I think that we are conditioned, even in like this spiritual realm, to think that our authentic self always has to be a positive, bubbly, constructive version of ourselves. But as women, our authentic self is literally just whatever version of ourselves we're waking up as that day. And obviously I'm not giving you a permission slip to go around and project your moodiness and your storminess onto everyone. It is your piece as well, your accountability piece, to take the time that you need, to create the environment that you need, to create the community that you need, to feel safe to have that storminess and not project it onto others in an unconscious way. You can definitely share it with consent, and ask people to hold that space for you. But if you are resonating with the stormier, wilder aspects of nature and of our feminine expression, it's about, yeah, it's about accepting that, but also in a conscious way and not projecting that onto other people. So yeah, if you're feeling like this really resonates with you, I just feel like go out into nature and just observe her in all of her beauty, in all of her complexity, and in all of her, yeah, just diversity. It's a constant different experience. Like some days it's sunny, some days it's cloudy, some days it's raining, some days it's windy. And I'm just constantly in awe of the beauty of every expression of that. And, you know, or if you're someone that's like, oh, I only like the sunny days with no rain or whatever, then that's probably a sign that you're not accepting all of those versions of yourself. You're sort of just waiting for this quotation marks authentic version of yourself. That's the happy, collaborative, constructive version of yourself. And we're not always going to be like that. It's this self-acceptance piece of realizing that we're going to have all of these different waves of emotions. And as I mentioned, men having the 24-hour hormonal cycle, that literally means that they can go to sleep at night. Just say you've had a tiff with your partner or they've had a stressful day. Most often, more times than not, they will go to sleep and their hormones will reset, which will provide the opportunity for them to emotionally move through things a lot faster than women, because we have to wait for our 28-day cycle to come to its fruition, to process some of those heavier emotions at times. So it's about realizing that it's not a right or wrong. It's just that men are different to women. And I really feel like Mother Earth is such a feminine being, and if we spend some more time with her, observing her, appreciating her, accepting her, it will transfer back to your journey and your permission slip to express your feminine essence more authentically and more consistently. So yeah, this is just a short little episode. I actually feel like I'm gonna wrap it up there, but yeah, for all the chickie babes that are listening today, embrace your diversity, accept your feminine expressions in all forms, educate those around you to help you feel safe to do so. And it's contagious. The more women that are doing that, the more women that get to observe someone else, in some other woman in their power in every expression of it, it will spark that permission slip in them, or that opportunity to create that safety for themselves to do that and regulate that more. Because as women, we're on a 28-day cycle, and we have an inner season. So we have an inner summer, an inner winter, an inner autumn, and an inner spring. And we're constantly trying to show up in this inner summer, and it's just not the way that we work. If you're in your luteal phase or you're on your period right now, you're actively bleeding, then you're in your inner autumn or your inner winter, and that's more time for reflection. That's more time to go inward and process those emotions that, say, your male partner is able to process in a 24-hour hormonal cycle. So rather than fighting the natural nature, the natural cycle, hormonal cycle, which is also our emotional cycle, try leaning into it and accepting it and realizing that, like, oh, I have this density right now, but if I just honor it, like, my hormones will shift in a certain amount of time, or however long it takes me to process it, and I'll be fine soon. And I'm sure you can sit here and listen to this and be like, oh yeah, like, no, I'm only in a bad mood for this amount of time, or I need this or I need that sort of thing. But every expression, feminine expression that you have, or emotion or season that you're going through, is only temporary. So rather than fighting it all the time and trying to come back to that inner summer, just accept it. And it's actually a way more rewarding journey. It's a way more intuitive journey. And it's actually so much easier and more aligned for you and everyone around you. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Just a nice little short one. But if you're a chickie babe and you've been listening to this, just remember to accept every version of yourself, not the ones that society has conditioned you to accept. Educate those around you to accept every version of yourself, and spend some time in nature observing her diversity in through the lens of how perfect it is, because it's a mirror for how perfect you are. Okay, until next time. Bye. Hey, beautiful soul. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Oasis.state podcast. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with a friend. It means the world to me knowing that everyone who needs this medicine and magic can lovingly receive it. Also, I'd love to hear from you, so feel free to reach out via social media, my website, or email. Can't wait to connect, and until then, sending you heaps of love.